it!
Mind the cart, it's coming through!
The Forum is just ahead. Keep moving.
The year is 200 AD, and you're about to spend a day in the largest city in Roman Britain.
The sound hits you first. Hammers on anvils, merchants shouting in Latin and Celtic, cartwheels grinding over stone. You're standing at the northern gate of Londinium. The year is 200 AD, and this is the largest city in Britannia. Where you see the Museum of London today, there was the Forum. Where Bank Station sits, the Governor's Palace. Where Liverpool Street runs, the amphitheater. This wasn't some frontier outpost. This was a Roman city. Londinium is the capital of Britannia. Nearly 60,000 people live here. That makes it one of the largest cities north of the Alps, larger than most settlements in Gaul, larger than anything Britain has ever seen. This city exists for one reason: trade. Londinium sits at the tidal limit of the Thames, as far as ocean-going ships can sail inland. That makes it the perfect port. Goods from across the Roman Empire flow through here. Wine from Gaul, olive oil from Hispania, fine pottery from North Africa, glass from Syria, grain from Egypt. If it exists in the Roman world, you can buy it here. But the trade flows both ways. Britain exports raw materials: tin from Cornwall, lead from the Mendips, iron from the Weald, grain from the countryside, wool, leather, hunting dogs bred for the Roman aristocracy, and one more thing: slaves. The Forum is the heart of the city, a massive rectangular courtyard surrounded by covered walkways. This is where Londinium conducts its business, where merchants make deals, where lawyers argue cases, where politicians deliver speeches. Next to the Forum stands the Basilica, the largest building in Britain, longer than a football field. This is the courthouse, the tax office, the seat of Roman power. Enter through those bronze doors and you enter the authority of Rome. But most people in Londinium never set foot in the Basilica. They're too busy working. The city runs on labor, skilled and unskilled, free and enslaved. Everyone has a role. A skilled mason can earn 50 denarii a month. That's good money. A laborer makes half that. A slave earns nothing, their property, worth about 2,000 denarii, the price of a small house. Walk down any street and the inequality is obvious. Rich merchants live in stone townhouses with hypocaust heating and mosaic floors. Most people live in timber apartments, 2 rooms if they're lucky, no heating, no running water. The streets aren't clean. There's no organized garbage collection. People throw waste into gutters. Chamber pots get emptied from second-story windows. You learn to walk carefully and watch overhead. Disease is everywhere. Tuberculosis, dysentery, malaria from the marshes. The average life expectancy is about 35 years if you survive childhood. Half of all children don't make it to age 10. But if you do survive, there are pleasures. The public baths open at midday. For a quadrans, a quarter of an ass, anyone can enter, rich and poor, citizen and slave. This is one of the few places where the hierarchy breaks down. After the baths, you might head to a tavern, drink watered wine, gamble with dice, eat bread and cheese if you can afford it, sausage, oysters from the estuary. Life in Londinium isn't comfortable, but it has moments. Religion is complicated here. The official gods are Roman, Jupiter, Mars, Minerva. But the Britons still worship their own deities, and there are mystery cults, Mithras, Isis, maybe even some Christians, though they keep quiet about it. The city has entertainment too. The amphitheater holds 7,000 people, gladiator fights, animal hunts, public executions. The Romans call it civilization. It's brutal, and everyone comes to watch. But underneath the Roman veneer, this is still Britain. Go to the markets and you hear more Celtic than Latin. The taverns serve British beer alongside Roman wine. Old ways mix with new. That's what makes Londinium unique. At night, Londinium changes. Most people stay inside. The streets belong to thieves and drunks. There's no street lighting, no police force. If you have to go out, you carry a torch and maybe a knife. Crime is common: theft, assault, murder. Justice is harsh when criminals are caught: flogging for minor crimes, crucifixion for serious ones. The Roman state doesn't hesitate to make examples. The military presence is constant. The governor maintains a guard. Soldiers patrol the streets. The city wall is being finished, 20 feet high, 3 feet thick, with gates that lock at sunset. This is a fortified city because it needs to be. Because Londinium exists at the edge of empire. Beyond these walls, Roman control is fragile. Rebellions happen. The Britons haven't forgotten Boudica. She burned this city to ash 140 years ago. The Romans remember that too. Still, life goes on. Children play in the streets, merchants make deals, craftsmen perfect their trades. People fall in love, they raise families, they argue and laugh and hope for better days. They're human, same as us. The markets close as the sun sets. Workers head home. The baths empty. The taverns fill. Smoke from thousands of hearth fires rises over the city. Another day in Londinium ends. Another begins tomorrow. But this Londinium won't last forever. In just 200 years, the legions will leave, the empire will collapse, and this city, this thriving metropolis, will nearly disappear. The population drops from 60,000 to maybe 5,000. The grand buildings fall into ruin. The street grid is forgotten. For 3 centuries, London barely exists. Medieval chroniclers call it the deserted city. The basilica where Roman governors once ruled becomes a stable. The amphitheater becomes a garbage dump. The bathhouses fill with debris. The forum is used as a quarry. People pull down Roman buildings for the stone. They can't maintain them. They've forgotten how. It takes nearly 600 years before London recovers its Roman population. The city you know today sits on top of all this history, 20 feet of it in some places, layers of civilization built on layers of ruins. When they dug the foundations for modern office buildings, they found the Roman waterfront. When they built Bank Station, they cut through the Forum. The tube runs right through what used to be the governor's palace. The past is everywhere, just buried. Pieces of Roman London survive. The city wall still stands in places. You can see it near Tower Hill. The amphitheater sits beneath the Guildhall. Temple foundations hide under office buildings. The Thames still flows where it always has. Think about that. The same river that supplied Roman Londinium, that saw Viking raids, that survived the Great Fire and the Blitz, still flows through the city today. That's continuity. That's the power of geography. Stand on London Bridge today and look north, past the skyscrapers, past the traffic. Imagine the buildings disappearing, the concrete vanishing, and there it is, Londinium, the city that started everything. Every city has a story like this. Paris, Barcelona, Vienna, Milan. They were all Roman once. They all fell. They all rebuilt. That's what cities do. They endure. But here's what makes London special. It didn't just endure, it forgot and then remembered. The medieval Londoners didn't know they were walking on Roman streets. They thought the wall was built by giants. They'd lost the knowledge. They had to rediscover it. That rediscovery started in the Renaissance. Scholars began reading Roman texts again. Archaeologists started digging, and slowly, painfully, London remembered what it used to be, what it was built on, who came before. Today, we know more about Roman London than any generation since the Romans themselves. Every construction project is an archaeological opportunity. Every foundation dug reveals more artifacts. The city keeps giving up its secrets. We found writing tablets from Roman businessmen, shoes worn by Roman children, dice used in Roman taverns. These aren't just artifacts, they're evidence of lives lived, people who walked these streets, people who aren't so different from us. Because here's the thing about studying the past. It's not really about the past at all. It's about us, about understanding where we came from, about seeing that cities rise and fall and rise again. That's the cycle. That's always been the cycle. Roman Londinium lasted about 350 years. Modern London has existed for maybe 400. We think our cities are permanent. We think concrete and steel last forever. The Romans thought that too. They were wrong. No civilization lasts forever. Not Rome, not Britain, not whatever comes next. But cities do. They adapt, they survive, they remember and forget and remember again. That's what makes them human. That's what makes them eternal. So what was daily life really like in Roman London? Busy, dirty, dangerous, unequal, brutal at times, but also vibrant, connected, part of something bigger than itself, part of an empire that stretched from Britain to Mesopotamia. You could buy wine from Spain in the morning, hear philosophy debated in Greek at the baths, gamble with a merchant from Gaul in the evening, and get murdered in an alley at night. That was Londinium. That was the Roman world. It wasn't paradise. The Romans didn't create utopia. They created empire, with all that means: conquest, slavery, inequality, violence, but also